Coming to you from 8122 Production Studios in the heart of the 607, this is Horror Zone 607. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And remember, you can always join the conversation using hashtag HZ607. Florida. This is Horror Zone 607, the podcast where we talk all things horror and bring you the week's biggest horror movie news. I'm your host, Mike C., and yes, that's right, I am hanging out in Del Boca Vista, Phase 2, down here in beautiful sunny Florida this week. And although I'm here in my bunker not enjoying any sun because I'm in a bunker, there are two gentlemen holding down the fort back at 8122 Production Studios in beautiful sunny Binghamton, New York. First, he goes down like a sweet muffin. He's rich.
Yes, I definitely do. But I just want to point out the fact that you are in quarantine still. But you went to the Corona capital of the world, Florida.
Yeah.
He's trying to get to the source. He's trying to figure out what's going on.
A little irony there. I don't know. Okay, but thank you. It's glad. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're still in a bunker, and we're glad to be back as well.
Glad you're safe.
Oh, I'm glad you guys are safe. And there's the other one, the other knucklehead in the studio. You hear him. He's here. He is the smartest man in all of horror podcasting. He's the professor.
Well, hello.
Hi there.
How's it going down there?
So I love
Del
Boca Vista.
Down in Del Boca Vista.
Phase
2? Are they still?
Phase 2.
Did they go to phase 3?
I'm down here with Morty Steinfeld, and I'm down here with the whole gang, and we're having a great time playing some shuffleboard, or at least they are. I can hear them up above me. So.
All right.
Times are good.
Having a good time at below the old rest home.
Really are. We really are. Or I am, anyway. There's no we. It's just me. So it's just the way I like it. All alone. Nobody to bother me. And I got a ham sandwich. It's how much worse could it be?
It can't get much worse.
How you guys doing? No. How you guys doing this week?
Oh, terrific. Just ready to hear some good news about horror and discuss and have a good time.
All right. Well, I do got to say that the other night I was actually watching the classic early 1980s slasher movie Madman, and I happened to jump on the old computer and happened to catch some of the Twitch stream of Rich and our good friend Ken M from the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour talking some wrestling. That was a good show you guys had there.
That's right. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. we have 607 Podcast presents the wrestling show on twitch.tv/607 Podcast. And if you watch live, you can join the conversation, which Mike did. Or if you prefer listening to podcasts, because obviously you'll listen to this one, but you're a wrestling fan, we still put it out as a podcast on all you have to do is search 3 Fat Nerds. It comes out on the 3 Fat Nerds Network. It's the second podcast we do over there. So we still put it out, but if you want to join the conversation, you're a wrestling fan, Thursdays at 8 p.m., we're live on twitch.tv/607 Podcast, and you'll hear this too late, but you can watch the replay. I guess this is a big weekend for us over there on twitch.tv/607 Podcast because we are covering NXT. We will be live streaming and giving our live reactions of NXT TakeOver 30. We will also be giving our live stream reactions on Sunday for SummerSlam, and last but not least, on Saturday night, after all that live streaming we're doing for wrestling, we're coming back to live stream and give our reactions and takes on the news coming out of DC fandom. So we have a lot more than wrestling or UFC, because we also do UFC events there on 607 Podcast on twitch.tv. So we got a lot going on in the stream world, so try to keep up with that, and eventually we'll have some horror stuff.
Yes.
I know that the professor's interested in me and the professor. I almost called you the horror.
Me and the horror.
Well, kind of, a little bit, for the right price. Me and the professor have already talked about maybe doing a watch along of some sort or something like that. So We might pick a movie, have a little fun, maybe even give the our listeners of this show the choice of picking the movie on the Twitter, on the Twitter, because that's by the way, Twitter is the best place to hold polls. I want to throw that out. That's all I always do on Twitter. Facebook really messed it up. It used to be good to do it on Facebook, but then they really screwed theirs. They smooched the pooch on those.
I haven't paid attention to that.
I don't even know if they're still back up. For a while, they weren't even up on. They had them and then they didn't.
Okay.
But on Twitter, it's always fun. So keep your eyes posted to this show, because when we get closer to it, the professor and I will probably be having you select what we watch for the Horror Zone 607.
Almost in a way.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you for bringing that up, though. We had a lot of fun. We do have a lot of fun streaming. Like I said, it's too late to watch the live stream of those things, but we keep them up for the max amount of days, which at this point is 14 days for us. So you can always go back and watch and see what we said, and if we were right or wrong, or you agree or disagree. But it's always a good time to join up. So every Thursday at 8 p.m. is for certain the wrestling show. So there you go.
Well, I got 3 words for you guys. Adam Cole Baby.
Yeah, I'm hoping
That's
so.
what I gotta say about that.
Obviously, we're recording this before NXT TakeOver 30, which will be out. Actually, we're recording it the day of. So this is Saturday. I am really hoping. Well, actually, I'm not even looking forward to that match at all. He just needs to win. I still give 0.
I think it's going to be better than you expect.
I give 0. I have 0 F's given about that match. There you go. And I even censored myself.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be a little better about the swearing.
Adam Cole's amazing, and I think that Pat McAfee is actually going to surprise. I think it's going to be an entertaining match, and I think it's going to be better than you expect. I heard you guys say it on the show, and I've heard other people say Adam Cole could wrestle a broom.
Right,
and
but
make it look good.
here's the problem. If it doesn't beat it, I have such a low expectation that if it doesn't beat it, that'll be a bad thing. Because my expectation for this is like literally like if you put a broom on like a curb size level up, that stepping over, that's all I need to do here. So if it goes under that somehow, it's going to be really bad. I'm going to cut promos on it, and I'll be doing it live, so that's even worse for them. So but hopefully, I set the bar so low that there is no way you could actually fail technically, but. If I've learned anything from World Wrestling Entertainment, where there's a will, there is a way, because sometimes the WWE is known for putting on some horrible shows. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
But that's enough about pro wrestling in Twitch.tv. By the way, if you have a Twitch, if you want to help out the 607 podcast group, which Horror Zone 607 is a part of, if you have a Twitch for free, this doesn't cost you anything. Just follow us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/607 podcast. And like I said, I do promise there will be some Horror Zone content. Whenever Mike gets out of the bunker, he can rejoin us. But me and the professor are definitely talking about doing something in actually the not too distant future, the next month or so. So there you go.
All right. Well, let's jump into some horror movie news, shall we?
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
All right. So this is something that Rich and Professor as well, and myself have kind of had friendly arguments about. And I said that I didn't think it was going to be the end of it, and it's officially been confirmed by the Duffer Brothers. As they recently did an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, they have confirmed that season 4 of Stranger Things will not, I repeat, will not be the end of the series, and also that they know how it is eventually going to end and when and all of that. So this is not going to be the end. There will be more than 4 seasons of Stranger Things.
Again. To be fair for me and the professor, though, when you read the reports, the reason they originally said all that, we said before, is there would be more. They just wanted to get people off their backs because they want to take a break and they want to gap it out because of their story plan. Because everybody knew how it was going to end. They said in the beginning that they wrote the ending first.
Yeah, I remember. So they already have material.
They wrote the ending first and wrote backwards from the end, which is how you should do it. And if you're
always have the end in mind.
But here's the problem: their vision of the end. I think the kids were slightly older because the original plans for the show was between seasons 2 and 3. There was supposed to be like a 2 or 3 year break, and then between the next seasons there was supposed to be another couple year break. And people bitched so much because they wanted it back for season 3 that they rushed it out.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything bad because season 3 was amazing. Don't take anything away from season 3 because I think season 3 is probably the best season of Stranger Things. But at the same point in juncture, their vision was for the kids to be older.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to do that. So originally me and the professor was looking because they said it themselves that this was going to be it. And I think originally the reason saying that was to get people off the trail. And that's what we said. They were either going to come back in a couple years with a movie or come back with a couple other seasons just so they could buy themselves the few years that they wanted. Yeah. Now, because of, the world may end, let's be honest, I think that they're just kind of like, okay, guys, we'll redo a little bit so we still fits into our ending. But this way, you have something to look forward to in case we make it to 2021.
Yes.
I did see that there's an asteroid that's supposed to hit the day before Election Day. It's on a collision course with Earth.
Are you serious?
No, yeah.
No way.
That'd be great. By the way, I just want to I want to point out that actually when you see the choices, let's not get political, but when you see the choices, the asteroid might be remember that was what happened with Clinton too, though.
Aren't there actually memes like Asteroid 2020?
No, did you remember back when Clinton and Trump ran against each other? There was a meme that went around for the longest, or not a meme, it was a poll. Somebody had done a poll, one of the major polling places, and it was like who was the front runner, and an asteroid ending life was winning the polls against both of them in the poll.
You voted for it? You got it.
So now I guess we just had to wait 4 years. And the asteroid's like, I'm here. I'm a little late, but I'm here, guys.
Yeah, it's space time, message had to get out.
It had to make that loop back around. I'll be here all week. Don't worry.
Yeah, it has a 0.41% chance of hitting the Earth. So not a huge percentage. It's the thing they said it has a 6.5-foot diameter to it, so it's not enormous, but that's big enough that could really do a lot of damage if it hits.
That could wipe out a city.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
There's a chance.
There's a chance.
I'm just saying it could wipe out a city if that city just happens to be Washington D.C. I mean, I shouldn't say that out loud, but
no, you should. If all of a sudden the recording cuts out.
I'm gonna leave it in. I don't care. Somebody can turn me in because think about it. I didn't threaten anything. It's an asteroid. We don't have any chance of where that thing lands.
The SWAT team's on its way.
You know how many times we get pelted by asteroids like that all the time? By the way.
Oh yeah.
Most of them hit the ocean because the ocean's the biggest covering.
Some of them fizzle out in the atmosphere.
Yeah. It's not no dinosaur killer. That'd have to be like a mile. What was the one that killed the dinosaurs? Like a mile width or something like that. So it was big.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they're saying that it probably won't. NASA's saying that it probably is not going to have a deep impact, let alone bring Armageddon.
Well, I want to point this out. If on your 2020 bingo card, you had asteroid. You might win. That's all this means. You have a 0.41% chance of winning. Okay.
Wait, I just need to call attention to Mike dropping references to Deep Impact and Armageddon.
But he didn't. He didn't do it on purpose.
Did you or did you not do that on purpose?
No, that was straight from CNN.
No, that's straight from CNN because that's what they call it.
Oh,
because deep impact is what they call a massive meteor or asteroid hit is called a deep impact.
I didn't
realize
they just named the movie
after the actual lingo. And Armageddon is what happens when the world ends.
Well, yeah, but I was thinking that Mike was just referring to the.
No, he wasn't.
I didn't realize the news.
You know why? Because he said right before he said it. The CNN report said, and that's how he started it. So there you go. The professor. He's the smartest man in horror.
Unquote.
He's the smartest man in horror, but he's not the smartest man overall. And he doesn't understand reading comprehension.
No, I do not.
He blew right past the stop signs.
He's actually the second dumbest person alive. So,
who's the first? Who am I competing
Jason.
against?
Don't ask. Don't ask.
Jason Voorhees.
Oh.
There you go. he's got the water
I think it might
head.
be Jason Bourne. I'm not sure.
No, Jason Bourne's super intelligent. What are you talking about?
Well, that's how the movies will portray him. But the real life Jason Bourne is actually the dumbest man alive. It's a proven fact. It's science.
All right, let's move along before I get us on any more hot water with the CIA, the NSA, the
Jason Bourne,
the Illuminati.
Yeah, they're going to show up and take you guys out. So.
Bourne Identity.
All right.
James Cameron. I don't know. Throw everybody else in there.
Yes. As long as Michael Bay makes a movie about us and our abduction, that's fine with me. So
good.
All right, moving on. In a story that I know you guys are super excited about. I mean, this I know you guys are really excited. Probably more excited than the new Amityville movie that I dropped the bombshell on you guys with last week. Morgan Creek is developing a reboot. Yes, a reboot of The Exorcist, scheduled for 2021.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Something I can say, something we didn't need.
No, yeah, this is yes and no. This is unnecessary.
Yes. Things
Yeah,
that,
no.
are,
More
that
than
are, will
likely.
be are not meant to be, and there you go. That is it. That's the only thing I'm commenting on. It'll be dead silence after this because we ain't talking anymore about it on this end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Here's my opinion on this. First of all, if they try to remake it, which this says a reboot, which can mean a lot of different things, but if they try to remake it, it's going to be one of the great disasters in the history of horror. Let's face it. That's what it's going to be.
Well, it doesn't. It doesn't require there's no reason. I heard the show was good, but
Right.
weren't they going
However,
in different?
The show was a continuation, or
Yeah.
kind of like it took place in the same world, but it wasn't retelling the
It took
Exorcist
place
story.
in the same world,
Yeah.
and from everything I've heard, now I never watched it, but from everything I heard, it was really good.
Right,
It
but
was
that's
creepy,
because
and
it wasn't
actually really good
it
stuff.
wasn't a remake or a reboot. It took place in the same world. It was a completely different story. Like it was somebody else who was being
Right,
possessed
which-
but it was in the same world where the Exorcist happened. So it was
Right. Which,
interesting.
if they were to do that with this movie, it would have potential where it could actually be a surprise hit. It could
Yeah.
be surprisingly good if they do that.
Yeah, but they call it a
do I
reboot,
think
which
that
means
that's
that's
what's
not
gonna
what they're
happen? No.
doing.
Yeah.
If it's called a reboot, they're not just doing a different story, because that would just be kind of like a sequel or a retelling.
Well,
or,
a reboot has a lot of different meanings, though. I mean, look at how many times Halloween has done a reboot in their series. Halloween 4 was a reboot. Halloween,
Right,
Well, no, that was a sequel.
Halloween
for
H2O was a reboot. Halloween 2018 is a reboot.
Okay, so technically,
know,
all right,
and-
ready
Rob
for this?
Zombies is a reboot.
Okay, you got it wrong. 4 is a sequel.
Rob Zombies
because,
was a remake.
Right? No. Yes, Rob Zombies was a remake.
/ reboot.
So here's where I'll go. Follow it here. Halloween 4 was a sequel because it kept the first two movies. The third movie doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers, so it doesn't matter. But it kept the first two movies in
Right.
that lineage. The first reboot, which I'll give you, is H2O. Because the reason why it's a reboot is because they erased everything before or after Halloween 2.
Yeah,
at that
4
point.
and 5 were
So the reboot was there, and then so H2O and Resurrection live in that rebooted world. Now, Halloween 2018, rebooted again and erased everything prior except for the original 1978 Halloween. So there you go. So it's only been rebooted twice. Technically, 4 wasn't a reboot; it was a sequel. Because think about it, there was a continuation of the story. Because we know early on from her looking at the pictures that Jamie Lloyd's mom was it was Laurie Strode, and that Laurie allegedly had died in a car crash. We knew that her uncle was Michael Myers, hence the kids bullying her and saying your uncle's the boogeyman.
Right.
So basically, we knew all the pieces. So. The story that's not a reboot. That is just a continuation. That's a sequel.
Yeah.
A reboot is when you get rid of some stuff.
And they got back on track.
Right. So technically, this new thing, to your point, though, it could be a reboot where it just is the sequel to the original. So they could do what Halloween did and go, okay, nothing else happened in the Exorcist world except for the original movie and now this sequel.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what companies are doing
now. That could potentially be interesting.
That could be all right.
Yeah, okay, but last time let's just throw it out there. I'm not willing to give away Exorcist 3. Exorcist 2 they can take.
Yeah.
They can keep Exorcist 2.
3 is good.
But Exorcist 3 is a damn good movie.
Yeah. Or Legion.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I watched the Legion print. It's pretty good.
That's good. But I'm just saying that the part 2 they can have. Mm-hmm. Exorcist 2 they can keep. We don't need that. Get rid of
Part
it.
2 was awful.
Part 2 is horrible.
You don't want to see James Earl Jones as a grasshopper again?
Oh, so bad though. Such a bad movie.
Well, I do, but not in the context of Exorcist.
All right. So what else?
Time will tell.
What other?
There's no
What other?
details
What
about
other
the
good
story or
news? Do we
anything
have to
yet,
have some good news in this, right?
Well, there's some good news, bad news, and this is dealing with Scream 5. They are really starting to move along with the casting for this movie. So what do we know up to this point? We know there's a new Scream movie coming. We know that Neve Campbell is in talks, but she has not been officially cast. We know that David Arquette and Courtney Cox are officially back on board. So what we've got now is Melissa Barrera from the Starz series Vita, as well as Jenna Ortega, who, if you guys have watched the Netflix series You, or also I believe it's Jane the Virgin, I believe, is the other show that she's in. So Jenna Ortega is also going to be in the show. So we got Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega coming on board. So casting is moving along.
And by show you mean movie.
The bad news is,
Because you said show.
By movie. Excuse me.
Movie.
Sorry,
Yes.
I don't want to get people to think that they're coming back with another show because that last season of that Scream show was atrocious. But continue.
Right. Yeah, I meant the movie.
Right,
So, but the bad news is with this is Radio Silence also wanted Samara Weaving for the film, but because of scheduling conflicts, I guess she's filming something over in Australia. She's not going to be able to do it. So
I heard
the Furies Part 2?
Awesome.
That would have been
Whoa. She's going to be in the Furies Part 2? Is that what I just heard?
I hope that she's going to be in the Furries Part 2.
Furries
it's
Part
the
2?
Furries, not the Furies.
Yes, right. I got it
It
right.
was clearly the Furries.
Yes. But Mike likes to make fun of the fact that I got it wrong the first time I looked at it, so I called it the Furries.
The Furries.
That's
a
damn good
very
movie.
different movie.
By the way,
Very
that
different.
was a damn good
Shining,
movie.
You know?
Although you could have called it the Furries a little bit. Those the killer dudes were kind of like if you put them in plushy things, it would have made the movie scarier, in my opinion. But anyway, did you ever see the Furies, Professor?
No.
You got to see the Furies. It's actually worth it. Mike, is the Furies not worth it?
Oh, I think you'd enjoy it.
You can find it on Shudder.
It's not the greatest thing ever to watch.
I watched The Burning. I watched The Burning.
Yes, you did?
Yeah.
A week later.
We're going to review that this week, I think.
Yeah, I'm ready to review The Burning.
Oh, Mike, I have some bad news. We reviewed The Burning last week. As the producer, I'm putting on I'm taking off the hat of on-air talent. I'm now putting on my producer's hat. And last week, the fans already know, last week we reviewed The Burning. The professor just didn't do his homework.
And by the way, his producer's hat is like a little toy construction cap.
It is.
It
But
says
you know
boss
what?
on the front.
It does. It does. But as the guy who can edit you completely out of this episode, watch yourself.
It'd probably be a better show if you did. So.
Hey, that was a good one.
Oh,
way to stick the burn.
By the way, Professor, how's your mom?
Oh, jeez. So
she's doing great.
Now that we're done with the burns, let's get back to the seriousness. Obviously, Scream 5 would have been amazing with Samara Weaving in it because she's pretty fucking awesome in everything she does. Big fan of hers in general, obviously. Even me and the professor kind of talked about Guns Akimbo. If you haven't seen that, check that out. It's not quite horror, but I guess it could have some horror flair to it.
It's pretty gory.
Yeah, it's pretty gory, but it's a great movie. She's in it, and she does an amazing job in that movie as well. I'm also, of course, obviously, we know how much of a fan we are of Ready or Not.
Yep.
The Babysitter was amazing. So, I mean, like, she's doing a lot of big things, so I'm not surprised that she's busy. That doesn't surprise me at all. I'm wondering in myself, though, like, is she trying to purposely stay out of franchise horror? Because, I mean, she's become like
get pigeonholed.
Maybe she's also trying to get out of horror a little bit as well. Because, I mean, think about it. Babysitter. I mean, all of them are dark comedies, but they're all horror related.
Yeah.
Babysitter was.
Right.
Wasn't Ready or Not. Guns Akimbo isn't technically horror. It's more of an action film, but it's very gory. You could construe it as horror. So, I mean, it's almost like she was getting pigeonholed. So maybe that's why she's also kind of taking a step back. I'm sure that there really is a conflict. But think about it. Yeah, she did Bill and Ted now. But she has really good comedy chops, so I'm not surprised there.
Yeah, that's...
So maybe, because, I mean, let's be honest. Eventually, this nice horror wave we're on is going to crash and burn. We know that. we just enjoy it while it's going. It's getting a little bit more of a extension because of COVID, due to the fact that everybody's still excited for Halloween Kills. Yeah. And then, of course, however that movie does is going to pretty much tell whether that wave continues on. But that's why all these studios are hurrying up to try to make things like Scream 5 and even, to your point earlier, Exorcist reboot and everything else, because they're like, let's take advantages. The only people that aren't, obviously, is Friday the 13th. And I was trying not to swear this episode, so I will say beep Sean Cunningham.
Indeed.
It's not the same if you say it that way. Go ahead. I'm going to do this one more time.
So I can.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, Rich.
Okay.
Sean Cunningham.
Fuck Sean Cunningham. Fuck him in his stupid ass. There you go. There it is. I'm trying to tone down my swearing on streams and podcasts
for the children.
Not even for the children.
For the kids that
just
are
because sometimes I get on there.
For the kids.
That's not even my most
X-rated our rating to a G rating, personally. So
you get banned from everything.
G-rated horror.
That's how we burn it down. We just burn it down that way. Anything else in the news, or was that all you had this week?
I got one more thing. Shudder. We love Shudder. We talk about Shudder all the time on the show. They've announced their 61-day Halloween horror block coming this fall. So that's exciting. There's some cool stuff that's coming with that.
I'm excited.
So absolutely.
Yeah,
Shudder does things well.
Things
I'm going to throw it out. Shudder does things well. They're definitely getting some good stuff on there. Me and the professor were just talking. I know Color Out of Space has just been added to Shudder, so I need to check that out because I did have wanted to see it, but it's now on Shudder.
I don't know if you guys saw it. It was released yesterday, The Pale Door. There's a trailer for it.
I'll check it out.
From Joe R. Lansdale, the guy who wrote Bubba Hotep.
Ooh, I'm in.
Stuff like that. He did this drive-in series called it was a book series. It was 3 books, really crazy. He's Hap and Leonard. He also did Hap and Leonard. So,
okay, cool.
Like he's always interesting. And this Pale Door is a Western horror movie that's coming out. That
I'd be interested in seeing that
on Shudder. It should be on Shudder right now. Actually,
yeah, as we speak.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
There you go.
There's not enough Western.
Just so you know.
Not really.
I'd like to see.
There's some good ones.
I'd like
Bone
to see a
Tomahawk.
slasher movie set. I've never seen that.
Ooh,
what, a slasher movie in the Wild West?
I'd like to see a slasher movie in the Wild West or like in the 1700s or something. That's something we don't really have. I would love to see that.
Absolutely. And more to your, I just mentioned Bone Tomahawk. If you guys haven't seen that, that's something else too. That's truly a horror movie. Definitely check it out. It's got one of the most intense scenes I've ever, like gory, awful, frightening scenes.
I'll have to check that out for sure. But yeah, I'm definitely, I'm always happy with my Shudder thing. So 61 days of Halloween programming, I'm in.
Yeah.
So
if you're if you're a horror fan and you don't have Shudder, you're doing something wrong.
I just want to point out how awesome Shudder is, and they don't sponsor us. I just want to throw out how awesome Shudder is just from being on Twitter. Shudder recently raised their price by $1, and not a person complained about it. Like, people on Twitter usually who complain about everything were like, you know what, I'm good with this.
Yeah, it doesn't
like
matter.
even $1 more is I'm only paying what, $6 or $7 now, and I get a ton of content. It's a lot of good stuff. This dollar is actually going towards giving us more content, hence probably where the 61 days are coming from. Like, they're like, hey, listen, and they were listening. They were like, the original programming alone is worth an extra $1.
Yeah.
Like, just thinking about Creepshow season 2 coming out soon.
Well, yeah, that dollar will
Joe Bob
contribute.
Briggs.
Yeah.
The drive-in with him. All that stuff is they were just like, it was weird for me because usually I'm used to people shitting all over things on Twitter, and everybody was just kind of praising like, hey, I don't care to pay the extra $1. I'm getting the value. Yeah. So I was like, oh, cool. So,
well, if you think about it, you got like $1 million. If you have at least 1 million customers, that's $1 million that goes towards Joe Bob Briggs. That's good enough for me.
That's good enough for me. And Creepshow.
Yeah,
Creepshow as a show is amazing.
Well, yeah,
and more people are gonna jump on the Shudder bandwagon. I think once Creepshow season 1 hits
TV,
AMC,
the television,
because it's going to be on AMC. Pretty soon here, actually.
When it hits the television.
No, seriously, it's going to be on AMC pretty soon.
Yeah.
So once that hits, by the time that hits, I think the last episode coincides with the first episode of season 2 on Shudder. So I really believe, and AMC owns Shudder. It's not like it's a secret, but I think that's going to be huge for their build up there, because people are going to see season 1 and go, I need to see season 2 and I need to see it now.
Once that baby hits the television airwaves, goodness.
And we also got Cursed Movies season 2.
Oh yeah, that hopefully will be even better than, because that first episode was rough.
Yeah, but you know what? It got better.
Yeah, it did.
So
get better.
I'm hoping that it continues on the trail that they left on.
Yeah.
The first episode, which was The Exorcist, was the roughest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reaching there, if you will.
Well, they couldn't get anybody to talk to, really.
Yeah.
The other ones, I think they had a little more clout maybe by then, but they talked to a few more interesting
I thought it was pretty
people.
cool.
Yeah,
it ended up being pretty cool. So there you go. So should we, even though they don't sponsor us, which hopefully someday they will, we plug Shudder. So watch Shudder.
Please, Shudder.
Yeah, please. We'll beg you. I keep sending you stuff. Anyways, with that being said, Mike, you got anything else?
Not at the moment.
Okay, well, you have a new thing you want to do, but before I do that, I got to remind everybody real quick about how to get a hold of us. So if you want to talk about anything we talked about in the news, you want to drop us a line. Last week we had a friend of the show, if you will, drop us a line, and we incorporated in there. Actually, we've done it a few times. So what you write to us on social media might actually end up in the show anyways. You can find us on Facebook, Horror Zone 607. Like and share that page. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Horror Zone 607. Use the hashtag HZ607. Let us know you're talking about us. Also, go ahead and you can find us at 812productions.com. Check out the archive. Check out some of the reviews that were written. We're going to be revamping the site very soon. I know I keep saying that, but actually I have some new things that I have to revamp. So that'll be under construction, coming into a lot of things. We talked earlier about twitch.tv/607 podcast. Really cheap and inexpensive, free way for you guys to kind of support what we're doing here at 607 Podcast. Horror Zone 607 is a proud member. Also with the Three Fat Nerds and the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, Tom Craven from Off the Cuff Gaming. There's so many great content creators here in the 607 area of New York. We've all kind of come together and we're doing some big things and we're marketing that. And what that means for you is awesome content on Twitch, even adding live streaming into the podcasting realm, because we're doing podcasting, we're doing extra stuff. So, and like I said, me and the professor are definitely going to be doing a horror movie watch along on twitch.tv/607 podcast in the near future. So make sure you follow. It's a free way to, to just you'll get the alerts when we're going live on there. And also it's a free way to help support us. And last but not least, if you would like to spend money monetarily and support us, you can do that at patreon.com/8122 productions. For as little as $1 a month, you get a ton of extra bonus from all the podcasts here and other bonuses as well. And there's a cool little thing we're doing now that I might as well announce here first, because this is going to come out and it'll be in effect for the next 30 days. We are going to be doing a promotion where if you sign up at the $1 level, you will get a sticker. And if you're a Horror Zone fan, not only would you get the show early, because you get the show early on there, we'll be doing some bonus content eventually there. We were kind of waiting for Mike out of the bunker, but me and the professor might start giving you like some bonus extras in the meantime, just to kind of get that rolling. But the cool part is if you say, because you can message me there, if you join for $1, it's $1 a month, you get a ton of extra bonus content. It does support the show. It supports everything we do here. And you say Horror Zone 607, we will send you one of the Horror Zone 607 stickers. I will be putting a picture of the sticker up once I receive them on. I do believe this podcast will be out by Monday, so
These
you guys
nice
will.
Stickers,
they're
guys.
nice stickers. It's the new logo,
Yeah.
but it's a kind of. Mike hasn't even seen it yet. I'll have to send him the picture because I do have a picture of what it looks like.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Because we had some color to it because obviously it's a sticker. I'm very impressed with this. Also, here's another kicker. If you act now and it's fast, there's two tiers. There's a $3 tier. It gets you a little bit more. It gets you more swag and stuff like that over time. The $3 tier, which is called the Chubby Chaser level, after what Derek names it, because the Three Fat Nerds, Derek named our second tier, and it's kind of fun. But if you join the Chubby Chaser level and you're safe, you want Horror Zone, by September 1st, we will be getting pins. I'll be mailing them out anyways after that. Everybody will get you'll get two stickers. You'll get both the Horror Zone and Three Fat Nerd sticker, and you'll get one of the enamel pins. And if you say Horror Zone 607, I'll make sure you get one of those. That is a limited run because this is the first time we're getting pins. So I'm only getting 10 of them, which means after I give out some, there'll only be like 5 left. So it's a think about it. It's a limited run.
Collector's item.
Well, I mean, obviously I may get more. And if there's enough calling for it, if you guys go out in droves and sign up on Patreon for it, you get there. And we give you a lot of content, and that's what's going on the show. Guys can't hear the sound production too much because we don't use the thing here because of Mike in quarantine
Mike.
in the bunker. But you guys get the other
I hope
great
you
stuff.
get out of there soon.
Yeah, maybe we can put him in a bubble. Maybe we'll get a little bubble suit in here.
Yeah, a robot.
I promise later on when I do them at the end of the show, I won't go into that length of it, but I kind of wanted to let you guys know now that if you do support the show, it does help pay the bills around here because we do have bills. Like it's, you can do podcasting for free, but it usually sounds a little
Yeah.
Trust me, you know the ones that are for free. I'm not even trying to take a shot. Follow your dreams. Do whatever you got to do.
It sounds like Mike all the time.
Yeah,
from the bunker.
yeah, exactly. How Mike sounds from the bunker, I know you guys have tuned into some Anchor podcasts that sound like that. But we have a real setup. We have a real studio. We also pay, Podbean for our distribution, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of fees that go in, and I'm not trying to beat it down. Get the show for free. If you don't want to support monetarily, all I ask of you is to make sure you like and share that Facebook page, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can do those things for free. Or if you're listening to us on a podcast provider, you can always, give us a 5-star rating and a review telling you why you love the show. All of those things are free, and if you want to do those things, I'm happy with that as well. Or if you just want to listen, we're always happy either way.
Or give us suggestions.
Like I said,
watch.
drop down suggestions, man. Now that we're adding streaming into our stuff, first of all, we do reviews on the show. You want us to hear us do a review? Drop a bomb on it. We'll do a review. If you want us, if you're like, hey, we're doing a watch along, or hey, I'd like to see you guys do this on stream. Go ahead.
Yeah,
we're creative guys. We're always coming up with stuff.
Waiting.
But we'll also do stuff for you because that's what we do here. So, like I said, I don't want to make people feel bad about paying money. I hate doing that, but I have gotten and these cool things that we'll be putting up on Patreon. And I would really like for people to have them because they're really nice. And if it goes well, I'll keep buying them. And if you see us in person, we might even have them for you. But this is a way to lock yourself in. You get some cool, support the show. And down the line, we'll also have the merch and stuff. Like I said, with the swag, you can get your shirts and stuff and all that happy jazz. I know that one of our longest patrons, we're about to send him out a shirt this month as well. So we do stuff like that. Cool stuff. So there you go. That's what I got. But Mike's got something new for us before we go to break. So, Mike, what do you got for us?
Yeah, what's going on here?
I sure do. So a few weeks back, we played trivia, and I had fun. The guys thought the questions were a little too challenging. But, I'm a big fan of trivia. I like to go.
What was the nurse's name?
Normal.
What was the secretary of the nurse's name in The Exorcist?
I asked what the doctor's name was. Anybody that likes that movie knows that answer.
Well,
I stand by that question.
Obviously, you found people who
stand by your mic.
There you go.
One more thing I like is I'm a diehard baseball fan, specifically a Yankee fan. And one of the fun things that they do every game, I want to say it's about the fourth inning. At the top of the inning, Michael Kay will ask a trivia question, and in the bottom half of the inning, he will give the answer. So, going forward, right before we take our first break each and every week, I am going to ask a trivia question, and we will take our break, and when we come back from each break, I will give the answer to that question. I'll see what the guys actually, if the guys know the answer first, and then I will give the correct answer. So this week, because we were talking about Scream, I figured I would ask a trivia question, and I'm actually, this week and this week only, going forward it's going to be one question every week, but this week and this week only, I am actually going to ask two different questions, and they're going to both be related to the Scream movie series. So, first question for you guys is, name the town that the original Scream takes place in. Name the town that the original Scream takes place in. Question number 2, who was originally cast to play Sidney Prescott in Scream? Who was originally cast to play Sidney Prescott in Scream? The answer to those questions right after we come back from this first break.
Hey, it's Courtney Gaines, Malachi from Children of the Corn, and you're listening to Horror Zone 607.
And welcome back to the Zone. So before the break, I asked a couple of trivia questions, and now it's time to see if the guys know the answer. And I hope that you folks listening at home are playing along as well. So the first question that I asked this week, they're both Scream-related questions. The first question I had was, name the town that the original Scream took place in. Do you guys have a guess on that one?
I know the answer, but should I let the professor give a guess before I give the answer?
I've got a guess. I don't know what it is.
Okay, take the guess.
I'm going to say Haley Mills.
In Haley Mills, Pennsylvania.
Haley Mills.
So, I don't want to ruin.
Miss Bliss from Saved by the Bell.
I would give extra credit.
Oh my goodness.
By the way, I would give extra credit, and I can name all of the places where the murders in every one of the Scream movies take place. But I won't do that because that might be a future question. So I will just say it's Woodsboro.
Oh, duh. Yeah,
Woodsboro. Woodsboro
Yes.
is the correct answer. Yes. And the second question that I asked this week: who was originally cast to play Sidney Prescott in the original Scream?
See, that one I'm drawing in blank, so I don't know. But
I feel like I might be on this.
So, do you want to go first or second? Because I'm just going to take a shot in the dark.
I'm
just
taking
because
a shot in the dark too, but I feel like they made a joke about it or something.
Okay, go ahead. Well, then go ahead.
Like in the second one, I think they made a joke about it. Is it Tori Spelling?
Okay, that's your answer.
That's your guess?
Yeah,
you know what? My guess is just going to be, because I am drawing a complete blank. I know that when you say it, I'm going to kick myself in the ass. But I am actually just going to go with the easy one because we know that this is the person who was killed first in Drew Barrymore. But I don't think she was actually ever casted at anything else but that. But that's going to be my guess because I am literally drawing a blank.
All right. Well, the correct answer is Drew Barrymore.
Wow, I did get it
Barrymore
right.
was originally
Nice.
cast to play Sidney Prescott.
Wow.
Tori Spelling is who they joked about playing her in a
Yes.
film about her life.
Yeah, all right.
So, and then actually made a cameo as the actress playing her in the second movie, which was great.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it was Drew Barrymore.
Wow,
actually.
that was just my shot in the dark.
Why'd
'cause
she
I was
get
drawing a blank.
bumped out? Why'd she get...
By her choice, from what I
can't
understand.
remember
was that? No, honestly, I think it was by her
she had
choice.
scheduling conflicts and didn't have the time, or she saw the part that was made and she wanted to play that instead.
So
I can't remember if it was a scheduling conflict or she just saw the other part.
She
and,
wanted-
not
you
to
know,
go too
the
far
Casey
in the
Becker part.
not to go too far in the woods on it, but I think that kind of drifting back to me a little bit. And I could be wrong, so this is just kind of me like trying to piece it together because I kind of accidentally got it anyways. I think what happened was there was a scheduling conflict, and then she was going to pull out completely. And then Wes Craven came up with the idea of her being the first one killed because she was the only person on the marquee. If you remember, she was the only one in the movie that was a big star at the time. So everybody assumed that she was the star of the movie, and it was one of the best swerves ever. But I do originally think, I think you were right, Mike. I think that there was a scheduling conflict, so she couldn't be there for the entire shoot, and they kind of worked their way around it. I think that's honestly because I know that there was some kind of weird thing that happened where she couldn't do it, but then they were like, but I can come on set for this.
Yeah,
Which ended
it
up
was
being
either
one of
that
them.
or she
Sorry.
She saw the Casey Becker, like read the Casey Becker part and took that. And so I can't remember. I have to look it up. I did see the answer to that at one point in time, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. But she was originally cast to play.
Awesome.
Sidney
Wow, that
Prescott.
was a shot in the dark, and I was only going
So,
with it
good
because
job.
I was like, I've drawn a blank, but there you go. All right, Mike.
Rich is 2 for 2 this week.
Two
The
for
professor
two,
gets none,
man.
although you will get a half a point for that for
Haley Mills?
Haley Mills was fun.
Well, Haley Mills.
I also want to point out, I will point out what we talked about in the break. The Scream is not in the professor's wheelhouse. He's only started to come around to it now.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Scream is very much in my wheelhouse. Hence why when we did the trivia thing, if you remember, I got the scary movie answer right. Because the original title for
Right.
Scream was
was,
Scary
yeah.
Movie. And then they used that as the title of obviously the spoof. But that was the original title. So I kind of know a lot about Scream because I enjoy Scream. So with that being said, though, you know what else I enjoy on this show? I enjoy a good Mike C top 10 list.
Lists.
And Mike C has put together a top 10 list this week. And I'm intrigued to, because we've talked about at least one of the sequels I'm assuming makes an appearance on this list. So, Mike, what is the top 10 this week?
So the top 10, it's actually, I'm going to take your advice because I actually made a top 20 list for this. And we're talking in our pre-show meeting. I think I'm going to split this up over 2 weeks and actually do a top 20. So this week we're going to do
There's a
top
surprise.
20 through 11.
Mike is
and then
full
next
of gifts.
week will be 10 through 1. I like to keep you guys on your toes. So the top 20 list is top 20 horror movie sequels, which for whatever reason, I thought that we've done this, but I think I keep confusing this with remakes because we definitely did a top 10 horror movie remakes at one point in time,
we
and about 2 years ago, actually, a year and a half ago. But yeah, this is the first time we're doing sequels. So
Squeakquels.
put together a little list, and basically I'll just kind of go through them and get your guys' take, and let me know if you think does it belong on the list? Does it not belong on the list? Do you like the movie? Hate the movie? Should it be higher than where I'm putting it? You don't know what the list is because I'm not there. You can't look over my shoulder and peek.
Yeah, I know.
So I kind of worked hard on this one as I usually do with my
Hard
list.
on, he
And
said hard
again,
on.
this is from my own mind. There's nothing scientific about this. This is just my expertise as a horror movie fan coming up with these lists. So we'll kick this off, and I want to start it off at number 20, a movie that I think that a lot of us, when we first hear it and think about it, we're going to think, boy, it's only coming in at 20 on this list. This was a great sequel, but the end of the movie really, really kind of put it down on the list for me. It really ended up being a terrible, terrible final act in the movie that kind of hurt it overall. But number 20, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side.
Okay, yeah. I would say, boy, that, yeah, it starts really well. It gets, I don't know. That movie is, it's got some really creepy moments, like with Kane. Is that the guy's name, Kane? When he approaches Carol Ann there. The actor who played him, I forgot the name of the guy, but he He was
Haley Mills.
He was Haley Mills. No, he was a bit kooky. I think he was like involved in the Living Theater, whatever that is, and like he had an odd way about him, that's for sure. And that comes through in that role. He's terrifying, whoever that guy is. I'm gonna look it up.
Julian Beck was his name.
Julian Beck. Okay.
Yeah, he was actually quite ill when he made that movie, and I don't know if he died before it came out or right after. I think he actually may have died right before it premiered. He was only 60 years old when he died.
Oh, okay.
If you could believe that. I thought that he was much older than he was, but yeah, Julian Beck. He was a great villain in that movie, and I venture to say, at the risk of starting an argument here, that most of that movie, at least through the first half, 3/4 of that movie, it rivals the original. It has it's not as good, but it's just a notch below it.
Yeah.
I think it fits in well. It was a pretty good sequel. It was filmed, similarly as the first one.
Yeah,
it
it feels
really
like it was made
at the story.
Yeah, it feels like it was made like almost directly after they finished filming the first one. It feels the same in some ways. I agree.
Yeah, and there were several years in between. There's about 4 or 5 years in between the two movies. So, but yeah.
So,
the end of that movie though got really bad.
Yeah,
I don't know what they were thinking, and it
became like a fantasy adventure kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, it was just I don't know if it was just a product of its time where they didn't have CGI effects like we do now, but I was okay with the fact that they went back to Cuesta Verde.
Yeah.
And to the supposed location where their house was that imploded at the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
Which I also thought was equally stupid. That's the one thing I don't like about the original movie is how that happened.
The house,
they go underground and all of a sudden they jump into the world of where Kane is, and they're just like floating around, and it was just, I don't know, it was just done very poorly, and it did not. I don't know how it looked in 1986, but it has not aged well, and it really hurts the movie.
Yeah.
And just kind of a shoddy ending to it.
I would agree. But just looking at Julian Beck, I'm just browsing through now. Yeah, he was the director of the Living Theater, and he was apparently a writer. A pretty hardcore actor, and had his own kind of philosophy and everything. So apparently he was he was indicted a dozen times on 3 continents for disorderly conduct, indecent exposure, possession of narcotics, and failing to participate in civil defense drills.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah,
good
so
for him.
He was a character.
Yeah, apparently. Wow, I didn't know that about him. Jeez.
But the creepiness factor definitely amps up a little bit more knowing some of that.
Yeah, and he was definitely creepy. He was a great villain. One of the I actually did a countdown at one point, both on Facebook and on the show, with top 30 horror movie villains, as you remember, and I had him kind of towards the bottom of the list, but I had him on there, and he has this place in horror. He was great. He was creepy, and definitely did his part in that movie to make it a better movie than it would have been otherwise. So yeah, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, number 20.
Good.
Number 19, Curse of Chucky.
That's a good choice. It's pretty low on the list. What? I don't know. I think that would be higher on my list, but I really, really enjoy the late stage Chucky movies. So
yeah, I mean, very, very good sequel, and it's weird that good of a sequel came along 5-6 movies later.
Yeah.
Because there was obviously Child's Play 2 and 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, and then this came, and they had gotten really hokey, and they were entertaining movies and everything in between, but they got hokey. I think that this one was actually a better sequel than Child's Play 2, and I love Child's Play 2.
Yeah.
I think that it really did help, further that story, considering that it turned into a franchise. And I think that that's a really creepy, good sequel. But I actually think The Curse of Chucky is the better sequel between the two. It went straight back to to its origins, and they got rid of all the hokiness until the end.
Yeah.
They kind of they tied it in with Bride and Seed. But
yeah, I'm a fan of Seed.
It's like a guilty pleasure type movie,
It's outrageous.
They were not good movies, but at the same time, they were entertaining.
Plus, you got John Waters as a sleazy like photographer in the background the whole time. It's I'm a particular and Redman and Jennifer Tilly. I love it. But yeah, Curse is a better movie, by far, and as compared to like 2 and 3, it kind of goes back to like the roots of actually being a horror movie instead of like a parody or spoof, like Bride and Cedar kind of. They're horror movies, but there's some goofier elements to them for sure.
Those are straight up horror comedies.
Yeah.
Those two are. So they're very hokey and they're very corny and and whatnot. But Curse of Chucky, again at the end it does tie those movies into it. But for the most part in that movie, it's very much like the original movie. It has a lot of elements of the original. Not quite as good, but very, very good. And I got to say it's one of those movies that it's almost criminal that movie went straight to video. That movie should have been in theaters. It was an excellent movie.
That is a crime.
And it still blows my mind that went direct to video, because the production value of it was definitely a little bit off compared to the original ones. You could tell that there wasn't as much of a budget for it, but still, it wasn't bad by any means. So
agreed. Good
number
choice.
8. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's the end of the list. We can just stop it right there since you approved it.
Yep.
So. All right. Number 18, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Oh. This would definitely be higher up in my list. But
it's enjoyable.
What a great movie.
It is enjoyable.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Chop Top.
The first time I saw it, I was kind of like, wait a second. This has, the same character, well, 2 of the same characters from the original movie, the same director. What did they do making this into a comedy? I didn't really get it the first time I watched it, but I've seen it more and more. And this is why I go back and watch Halloween 2018 257 times, because I look for the, something to enjoy about these movies. And that was one that I did. I had to go back and watch it a few times, and it grew on me, and I actually ended up loving the movie.
A comedy?
What's that?
You would wait, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 as a comedy?
Very much. It's very much a dark comedy. There's a lot of that's a
maybe
very
dark
campy
comedy,
movie.
but I mean it's over the top for sure, and campy.
It's very campy, and it was intentionally done. Toby Hooper wanted to make something more comical.
Yeah,
compared to the first one.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, I would just
it's
all out comedy. I wouldn't class it. I mean, it's a horror movie with comedic touches, I would say. But
to me,
that's neither here nor there.
I would have preferred to have seen something that was more of a direct sequel to the original, in the sense that it was just as creepy and menacing as the original one was.
Okay.
I would have preferred that, but again, the more times I've seen that movie, I love it.
It's great.
It's because it's lower down on this top 20 list. There's so many horror movie sequels. There were even more than I realized.
Yeah, there are
out
tons
there.
of them. Yeah.
So, the fact that it was number 18 on this list doesn't mean I dislike it by any means. I love this movie. Every time it's on, I have to watch it.
Yeah.
Dennis
Hopper and Bill Moseley.
Oh, Dennis Hopper was great. Caroline Williams.
Yep. She's great. She's a good
She was great in it.
scream queen.
Oh, yeah. She's amazing. So, what was the one character's name? LG. He kept spitting on the floor wherever he was. It didn't matter if he was in his radio studio, he was dying. It didn't matter. He would just talk a loogie and spit it wherever. So it definitely had its funny moments and everything, but it had a good cast and it was a fun movie. So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
It's a good choice.
Number 17, The Conjuring 2.
Yeah, I can see it.
No,
I can see it.
That would be. I mean, I'm trying to think of how many horror sequels there are. I would assume that would be in my top 20. Because the Nun is now one of the more iconic horror villains around, and I love Patrick. You don't like the Nun? I don't like
the movie. The Nun was terrible.
The movie The Nun, no, but the character is. You can't deny that that's not creepy.
It was creepy in the movie. I think what lowered this on my list is this is one I originally actually had, I think, in the top 10, and I just kept bumping it down more and more and more with the more sequels I thought about.
Yeah.
And what bothered me again with this movie, not to the degree that Poltergeist 2 did, but the final act of this movie was so over the top. It was Hollywood doing what Hollywood does to haunted house movies. And they just made it so over the top and so ridiculous that it kind of, to me, took away from what was so good about the rest of the movie. Because it's an excellent movie.
Yeah.
I think it's actually better than the first Conjuring movie. I think they're neck and neck.
I like it better than the first one.
Yeah, I went into that. I went with our good friend Luke actually to see this, and I kind of went into it, and I was just like, kind of rolling my eyes at this, like, oh, this is going to be terrible. I just don't want to do this. There's no way it's going to be as good as the first one. And quickly, my opinion of it changed as I was watching it. It got very creepy, had some good scares, and it was a well told story.
Great performances.
The end
too.
kind of ruined it a little bit for me.
Yeah. I'm a major fan of Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. Awesome performances there. What's the couple's name? I'm forgetting. They those two characters. Jeez, Louise, how am I not remembering this? Anyways, they're great
in the Conjuring movies.
The Conjuring movies, yeah. What's their names?
The Warrens.
The Warrens, yeah.
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah. The whole, and then there's like that nice peaceful moment in the movie where Patrick Wilson plays "Fools Rush In," the Elvis song, and there's like that kind of peaceful little moment, and it's just great. It's just a really great movie. I love The Conjuring too. I know what you're talking about with the end, but I think I can forgive the ending. It's cheesy in all the right ways.
Yeah, just I don't know.
Valak!
Seeing her pinned up against the wall.
Yeah, I love
the
it.
nun screaming.
Yeah, and the tree, that's great. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, it took away a little bit and it lowered it on the list because of that. I think that if it didn't have such an over the top Hollywood ending to it, it would have been a much better horror movie in general. And maybe one of the best horror movies ever made had it not had that. I don't know. That might be going too far, but it was a really good horror movie.
I see what you're saying.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to number 16, Damien, Omen 2.
All right. What a movie.
I like that movie.
I enjoy both. Well, I mean the original Omen trilogy. I was gonna say both sequels, even though they made 4, right, with the daughter, right? Omen 4.
I actually thought that was better than the third one. I think the third one's terrible.
Yeah, with
Sam Neill.
Sam Neill is the president.
The final
Damien is president. Yeah, the
something?
final conflict. Yes.
Yeah, that movie, I thought that was terrible. The biggest problem with Omen 2 is just some of like the special effects. The one scene, the woman gets her eyes pecked out by birds, and then they clearly just threw a blow-up doll at the tractor trailer that killed her.
Oh yeah,
that was just
that
one of the great
scene's
scenes
insane.
in horror movie history or cinema history for that matter.
That's really
that was a little much.
It's a really ridiculous scene, but the movie around
I'm a big
it.
fan of the original Omen. So
you are not a big fan?
I am a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion, the original Omen is one of the top 10 or 11 greatest horror movies of all time.
Yeah, the original Omen is great.
It's tough to continue that story with the way they left it off, but I thought that they did a good job. It's probably a little bit more boring than the original movie, but it had its creepiness to it, and it did tell a good story. I liked the kid that played Damien as a teenager in a reform school or wwherever he was, like a private school.
Well, yeah, he's in a military school, isn't he? He's
yeah. As he kind of finds out what he is, So I think it's a really good story. I don't, it's a horror movie for sure, but kind of like the first one. I think the first one is definitely creepier. This one, I wouldn't say that it's overly scary.
Yeah.
But it has its creepy moments, and it does tell a good story, and it's a horror movie sequel. So So to me, I think it has its place in this list. So
yeah, I absolutely do love The Omen 2. I like the whole concept of the initial trilogy idea for The Omen, like you're tracking Damien as he rises to a position of power, becoming president. But yeah, that third one falls flat. But yeah, the second one's a great sequel. It carries the story on in an interesting way, and you can kind of see, like, it's more terrifying, ignoring the fact that there's a part 3. because like it just leaves open the fact, oh, what is this kid gonna become? You know.
Right. All right. Number 15 on the list. Freddy's Dead.
For real?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
You're just trying to get it in this week.
We're
He's
still
just
with
trolling.
us.
Oh no, I'm still with you.
You
I'm
got
just
so
saying.
quiet.
Yeah. No, I'm still here. I
got
just
kinda quiet,
you're trying to
so.
steal my bit. That's copyright infringement, man.
I don't know where we were going to get it in this week because this is going to be the end of the show. So
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
just
much.
making sure you're still with us
No,
here.
I'm here.
So
I'm here.
I see him.
all right. So the real number 15 is Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects.
Ooh, yeah. What a movie! I love it.
If it would have ended there, there'd be no problems.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
I
Devil's
still got to
Rejects.
say, I did not hate Three from Hell as much as everybody hated it. I didn't think it was good. I just didn't think it was as bad as everybody made it out to be. I didn't think it was the worst thing that's ever been made. And a lot of people have said that. So, but that being said, it was not a good movie, and it definitely should have stopped where it was meant to stop.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. What a cool follow-up. I mean, like a completely different spin on the story that was set up in House of Thousand Corpses. Makes it more realistic, I guess you could say, because House of Thousand Corpses was more like a carnival ride. This one was more like a 1970s kind of on the road movie with these characters just doing awful things to people. And the whole thing with Sheriff Wydell, the brother Wydell, coming back and being just as crazy as they are when he tortures the Fireflies. Man, that whole scene when he's got them, when he's got the one up on them, he's got them all nailed to their chairs there, and he's torturing them and putting them through it. That was a great scene. And then Tyna comes along, and
Yeah, great movie.
yeah. Devil's Rejects should have stopped there. Yes, absolutely. Three from Hell, I've come around to it. I watched it again. It's not good, but there are elements of it that I do enjoy. I like that it's kind of like a horror movie, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. But other than that, there's not much going on in it.
but have you seen it 247 times like I have Halloween 2018?
No, I've watched it twice.
No. You will. Give it time. You will.
Nah.
Yeah, I think the only part of it, I mean, it was a Rob Zombie movie, which I'm not overly, I don't love Rob Zombie movies.
Yes.
And we've talked about that in the past. I'm not going to get into that again. But I just, for what it was, I think the part to me that kind of just that I didn't love about it was the fact that they basically turned the three most hideous villains in the world into good guys by the end of the movie because of how bad Wydell was. It's almost like he had a heel turn, they had a face turn at the end of it.
Well,
It's kind of what Texas Chainsaw 3D did in a way, in a very different way. But you can't turn your despicable villains into good guys, and that's kind of that you made them sympathetic.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously they're not like that.
Well, it's like it's like the Clockwork Orange thing. Like you're rooting for. It turns the mirror on the audience, so to speak. Like Clockwork Orange, right. They release Alex out into a world where he's been cured and he can't think violent thoughts, and all the people he's wronged in the past come at him, and he can't do anything about it. And you start to actually feel bad for him. And they do the same. Zombie does the same thing in Devil's Rejects. Like they encounter someone who's gone off the deep end, and you actually, I don't sympathize with them, but you see what the world they're living in.
The predator becomes the prey.
Yeah, and like no matter what,
I think that's the best way to say that.
What's going on is wrong, but it turns the mirror like on the audience. Like do you enjoy these people? Is there something of you in these people? I think that's what is cool about that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways.
Number 14, Scream 2.
Good choice.
Okay, yeah.
At least he didn't pick Scream 3.
Yeah, Scream 3. Oh.
That's number 1, don't worry.
But anyway, Scream 2, good choice.
I'm canceling the list.
I enjoyed Scream 2 became even more meta.
Yeah.
It was definitely self-aware of itself. It possibly, I mean, in theory, it had the weakest killers.
Yeah, I don't like that the movie up until
Yeah.
like the whole ending. Well, because it's kind of like it's just the expository dialogue that I hate. Like, I'm going to explain everything that happened.
Yeah. But I'm just saying it had to, and I'm not saying the actors themselves or even the characters, because I think they did a fine job as characters.
Laurie Metcalf
it's just
and,
and Timothy Olyphant. I think that they did just fine. I think that the problem was that it was like the kills weren't as in the original one. The kills were insane. They were kind of like new age, if you will, and these were kind of mostly stabby, slicey, which is fine.
The opening,
I get it.
The opening kill is good.
The opening kill is real good.
Yeah.
And also, like, for people who always think that like that it wasn't set up, if you think about it, the only explanation that we get in that line is that they got those tickets for free. What if those tickets were given to them by Timothy Olyphant's character?
Yeah.
And then that's how he would know who both of them were to commit the... Because everybody's like, well, the plot hole in that movie is that how did he know that that was his girlfriend? Well, if he gave them the tickets, because remember, they're in line, we were given these tickets for free. Never says who.
Yeah.
So if he's the one that gave them, he knows them.
That's
And that's
I never thought
they
about
were
that.
and but think about it, they had to have been a
never even
target.
caught that.
If you think about it, they had to have been a target, and the reason they had to have
Timothy
been a
Olyphant's
target
character
because
is
of the
like that.
names.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
remember, they were sticking to the names. Everybody's name had to be somebody which matched the original order of the original kills.
And Timothy Olyphant's character, I forgot his name. He's the kind of guy that would schmooze and like give people like, hey, check.
Yeah,
come
he
check
was a
this
cool.
out.
He was a cool guy, man.
Yeah.
He was the guy that everybody fucking liked, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, like I
Yeah,
think so.
the part that doesn't make sense with that is how would he have known that he was going to have to go to the bathroom at that moment? And
Well,
that
if
he
you're
was gonna end up
following,
in one of the stalls?
but think about it. If you're following him around, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, everybody's
He was already in
dressed.
the stall, though.
Everybody's dressed as Ghostface in the theater.
Right, but he goes into the bathroom. Omar Epps goes into
He
the
must have
bathroom.
followed
And there's
him
somebody
in there.
already in that stall.
Well,
Well,
He,
how
didn't
did?
follow-
Okay,
he was in first.
but here's what I'm
If he
saying.
would have been in the stall before he even walked in the
Right.
bathroom, how would he have known that Omar Epps was in
But
there?
if you were standing somewhere near him or around him, and you knew he was going to the bathroom, all it would take was you to
Easily,
get to
yeah.
the bathroom first.
Yeah.
And there were so many different people. Now, the only part of that is luck is that the people at the stall at the urinals. However, if you got into that one stall first and there was already people at the urinals, if he comes in literally right after you,
now that I'm
you're
thinking,
not a problem.
it's
But, I mean,
it's
you
a
are
pretty
overthinking
large
it. It is a
coincidence.
pretty large coincidence. But once again, I think if you follow the logic, because most people
It
don't even get
works.
caught up on that. The logic is that how did he know it was his girlfriend?
It
Well, if he
works.
gave him the ticket, there you go. There's a good one. But anyways,
Yeah.
moving on. Next one.
It kind of works.
Number 13, Hellbound Hellraiser 2,
Ooh.
which I absolutely love.
I would put this in my top 10. Hellbound Hellraiser 2.
I had it in the top 10 initially.
Oh man, what a great movie! I love it. It just pushes the story further. It really is what a sequel should aim to be. The whole labyrinth and everything. It's terrifying.
I think it's better than the first one, personally.
Yeah, I mean the first one has some really cheesy moments, but it's still really creepy and gross and awful. But the second one is like the labyrinth of horror movies.
Yeah, I got no problems with this.
He accepts
All right.
it.
Yeah?
It's acceptable.
Yes.
All right.
He likes it.
Number 12. Now, this one, I didn't know what to do with number 12. And you'll know why in a second when I say what it is. But I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. But the fact of the matter is, it's a horror movie sequel. So it fits the bill. So number 12, Happy Death Day to You.
Okay, I haven't seen this one yet. I've seen Happy Death Day.
So we won't give away any spoilers for it if you haven't seen it. It's excellent.
I
First
did.
of all, you're going to enjoy it. If you like the first one, which I think everybody on the planet did,
Yeah.
you're going to enjoy this as well. It's not a horror movie. Like the first one was a slasher comedy. This one is a straight up comedy with like some sci-fi stuff. Like it's got like almost like a Back to the Future vibe to it.
Yeah.
So it very much looks and feels like the first movie, but the first movie is a slasher movie. It is a horror movie that just happens to be extremely funny.
Yeah.
At the same, the first one is a horror comedy. This one is a straight up comedy. It's not a horror movie at all. So that's why I kind of was like, well, does it belong on a horror movie sequel list? Well, yeah, because it's a sequel to a horror movie.
But is it better than others?
Excellent. It's really funny.
It's
So what's that?
But is it better than other horror sequels?
Is it better than them? Is it a better movie? Yeah.
Better
In my
than the
opinion, it's a
movies
great
that
movie.
came before on this list.
I personally believe so. Yes, it's an excellent movie. It's so
Wow.
much fun.
All right,
When you
well
see
then
it,
I
you'll know
will
what I
have to-
mean.
Yeah. All right.
It really
Better
is.
than Hellraiser,
Great,
Hellbound. Yeah.
yeah, and personally, I believe that it's a great complementary to the first movie. You know, a great compliment to the first movie. So it goes with the story great. It does advance the story very well. It's a really, really fun movie, and you're going to love it when you watch it.
If I watch this
So-
and it's not better than Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, I'm going to I'm going to fly down to Del Boca Vista, and
Please do.
I'm going to throttle you. All right. Anyways, but yeah,
You
so
go right ahead and you do that.
I love the first one. I'm of course going to check this out. Sounds good. I don't know what I have no
Well,
I have no
let me ask you
idea
this.
though, because I haven't seen it.
Let me ask you this: Do you like Happy Death Day more than Hellraiser or Hellraiser 2?
No,
Do you think it's a better movie?
no.
You don't?
No, Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2 are better movies. Absolutely.
See, I disagree with that.
Oh.
So I think that the Happy Death Day movies are just more fun. Maybe because
Well,
I
they're
like
more
slasher
fun,
movies
yeah,
more.
but like I Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2 are like it's Clive Barker, master
There's
of
just
horror,
stuff
man.
that kind of confuses me with the Hellraiser movies, I guess. I get a little bit confused about some of the stuff that's actually gone on in them,
Yeah.
no matter how many times
Well,
I've
those
seen them.
first two though are
So-
just perfect.
They were good movies. I
Yeah.
would not call them perfect movies.
But
by
you're
any stretch
talking
of the
to
imagination,
I'm a
but-
very, very, very big Clive Barker fan.
True.
I've read many of his books. I love Hellraiser. The Cenobites are, iconic horror movie villains, and well, I mean, if you could even call them villains, I don't even know what they are.
They don't really do much. They're just kind of creepy.
They're forces of nature. But it's an awesome series. Yeah. Anyways, Happy Death Day to you. Sounds great. I will check it out.
All right, you better.
I will.
All right, and number 11, which will be the last one that we do this week. Number 11, one that is near and dear to my heart. This was also originally in my top 10. I just think that there's 10 movies that had better sequels. The more and more I come up with them. But number 11, Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Oh wow.
Part 2.
The Deuce.
Dukes.
Part two.
I would have.
Hot Shots
I'm
Part
surprised
2.
that this is not in your top 10.
Yeah, so am I.
It was. It kept pushing
Well,
it
then-
back a little bit
It's a great
more and
sequel.
more just because I
Well,
thought
now-
that the other movies that I put ahead of it were better.
Well, now I'm looking forward to hearing what your top 10 are.
Or is it just going to
There's
let us
gonna
down?
be-
He's gonna let us. It's
He's
just
There's
gonna
a
let
couple
us
of them
down.
next
you're not
week's
going
just
to agree with.
disappointment. We're
week-
just getting ready to get
I
disappointed.
mean, I saw the disappointment in your face when you realized Hellbound was behind Happy Death Day to you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like now that Friday the 13th has not made the top 10, I feel like the bar has been set like on a high level, and there's only one way it can go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of them that are in there that you guys are not going to agree with. I'll tell you that right now. There's a couple of them in the top 10, but again, it's my list, it's my opinion, so I went with what I did.
It's
But
my
Friday
party,
the 13th
and I'll
Part
cry
2,
if I want to.
Exactly. I think that I might have had it at like number 6 or 7 initially, and it just kept bumping it down.
Bump.
Just because I think
But
that there were a
he's,
couple
he's
movies
absolutely
that were
right.
just better
Bump.
movies.
It is his list.
Bump,
It's
bump
not
it down.
representative of
Bump.
what we would pick.
No,
we just
no.
kind of give our commentary on
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
So we will say that.
It's a
And
good
that's
list.
the beauty of
It's a
it.
good list. Everybody
the
has their
beauty
own list.
It's a great list.
Everybody can come
Great-
up with their own list. Maybe
great
the
list.
people at home want to comment on what you've gone over from 20 to 11, and they can do that on Horror Zone 607 on Facebook. While you're at it, like and share the page. You can also comment
provide
about
them.
it
Yeah.
on Twitter and Instagram at Horror Zone 607. Use that hashtag HD607. You can go ahead and stop over at the website 8122productions.com and give us a little love over there, as there's a whole bunch of things in the archives and, of course, some reviews and such. And you can check out our friends of the show like the Ocho Duro Parley Hour, all the great bands, our local sponsors here, and so much more over at 8122productions.com. Also, if you would like to support the show for free, you can always go ahead and drop a follow over there at twitch.tv/607podcast, as we will definitely be doing some horror stuff over there as well. But we're doing some wrestling stuff, some UFC, some nerd stuff, horror stuff, everything that is 607 podcast. We're doing that a little more, so there'll be a bunch of different flavors over there. It's like Baskin Robbins. But there's a lot of great...
More than 20, 36? 36?
I think it's like 30, 31, 36, something like that. Anyways.
There's more than 36.
Anyways, there's going to be tons of flavors. Anyways, that's over there at twitch.tv/607podcast. And lastly, if you do want to support the show monetarily, and once again, there's a cool little giveaway where the stickers or pins, depending upon. And if you drop it in there that you're Horror Zone 607, I'll make sure you get the Horror Zone 607 one. But you can do that at patreon.com/607podcast. And for the next month, we're going to be doing that as kind of like a way into the door. And anybody, by the way, if you are a patron, you're not slighted because we're sending you the stickers anyways. Yeah. So anybody who's already been a patron, you know what you guys have been supporting, you're already going to get them. So don't you sweat, don't you fret. But those of you who would like to join, hey, it's a little bonus. Plus, there's going to be other stuff and giveaways and other kind of content, and there's tons of bonus content on there. You get to hear all sorts of crazy stuff. So, and much, much more to come in the future. So if you would like to help us out and help us pay some of them bills, patreon.com/812 Productions. Wow, I got too many slashes here.
Where am I?
That's right. I'm tired, and I still have a whole night of live streaming to go. And I'm trying to get some food in my system. So, with that being said, Mike, that is it from the end of the business end. Take them home.
All right, guys. Thanks for being in the studio each and every week. I can't wait to get back and do some shows with you guys live and in color and face-to-face. It might be another decade or two before I get there, but can't wait to do it. So Professor, thanks for absolutely nothing once again this week. You've ruined another show for us.
Happy to disappoint.
Rich, thanks for all you do. Thank you, listeners, for each and every week tuning in. Next week, we'll be back with more horror movie news. We'll be back with the top 10 horror movie sequels. And who knows what other fun shenanigans we're going to have for you next week. Until then...
We might review The Burning.
Excuse me?
We might review The Burning.
We might review The Burning one of these weeks. It might happen. We're going to try to get to that before the show comes to an end.
Yeah.
So we will try that now that the Professor's seen it. But until next week, for the Professor, for Rich, this is Mike Z saying, see ya.